Okay, so here's the thing. I asked this in the chat, and I'm going to ask here as well. What is the number one thing that you want to walk away from this training today? We're going to be talking about how to add value. We're going to break down exactly what value is and who you need to be adding value to in order for your business to grow, right? Grow in the short term, grow in the intermediate term, right? And grow in the long term, what that looks like. And then I'm going to give you examples of exactly how to add value to all of those people that you need to add value. So I'm going to read through what some of you guys have wrote. If you would take a moment and put that in the chat, the number one thing that you want to walk away from this training with, whether that's a feeling, whether that's a question answered, whether that's a specific idea or whatever that is, I would love to know. So Krista says new ways to add value. Danielle says how to make sure my posts are providing value. So kind of like a metric for like evaluation. I love that. I was processing this morning. So the fact that this training is on this, you felt like it was a God thing. Totally. Renewed energy behind your content, overall improvement in business skills, refresher on how to add value with purpose, not just add value. I love that, that kind of distinguisher there, Josie. To ensure I'm adding value, not just telling my story. Ooh, there's a mindset behind that. Adding value to grow the business. Better ways to add value for prospects. I love this. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to go ahead and dive in. If you're watching this on Facebook, something, I want you to give some feedback in the comments. So if I ask a question, definitely drop your answer there in the comments. Or yes, Ashley, we are so glad to be seeing you. Let me get on the right screen before I do this. All righty. Now I'm going to share my screen and we're going to dive into this training. Okay. Present. All right. So what we're going to be chatting about again is how to add value. So who do we want to add value to? Okay. I would love, before seeing this screen, you've already seen this screen. So now some of you guys are gonna know what I just said, but who do you feel in your business you need to add value to? Okay, this is gonna be really telling. You already saw the screen, so you're gonna see what I said there, but I want to know from you who you feel you need to add value to when it comes to showing up in your business using social media, right? Using Messenger, using those conversations, because Messenger is part of social media. Part of social media is posting to social media, and then part of it is our conversations that we're having, okay? Adding value to me, to the people who are following my content and how the product and business has helped. I'm alive. I love you, Ashley. My leads and potential customers, prospects and potential wellness partners, perfect prospects, moms, postpartum and stay-at-home mom. Okay, here's a question that I want to ask you, okay? Each of you in your journey, have you had value added to you from me or whoever your upline is after you were a prospect? So you were a prospect in the beginning, and then you became a product user and a business owner, right? So in some way, shape, or form. Some of you went straight to business. Some of you, everyone's path is a little bit different. Okay. Do you think you would have gotten as good of results on the products had you not had value added from whoever you were getting value from? Does that make sense? Whether that was your upline or someone crossline or whatever, do you think you would have had as good of results and had as big of buy-in? Put that in the chat on the products had that not happened. No. Okay. So we need to be adding value, right, to our customers. Do you see how that makes sense there of like, oh, okay, I can think of ways that I've either seen someone, you know, my mentor on social media or Crossline or whatever, show up, add value around the products in a specific way, helped you to, you know, have different routines or helped you to look at things differently. I'm going to show you examples of all of this. Okay. But I've been talking to me from 2 years ago. Yeah. Okay. So you have to, we want to be adding value in that way. Still results, but not as good in as many areas of your life. Josie, I'm going to show you examples of this. Okay. The second piece of it with your business as a wellness partner, have you had value added from your mentor, your upline, or someone higher, right? Whoever you go to, have you had value added in that way? Yeah. Lots of value. Cool. That's awesome. That means the system is working. I love it. Okay. So do you think you would be getting results? And do you think you would still be here building a business had you not had that value added along the way as a wellness partner? Yeah. Okay, so I just want to use this as a moment to remind you that your social media isn't just for prospects. Okay, that's a piece of the puzzle, but you want to bring people in, you want to nurture them, and you want to grow and develop with them and grow and develop them along the process. Was that a light bulb moment for anybody? So it's not just for prospects. Okay. So you want to think about, what does your business look like? Who are you calling in? Who's that ideal person that you want to work with, right? And we have trainings on this. If you're like niching down, finding your ideal person, give yourself permission to get it wrong, and don't think about like having to have it perfect. Don't overthink it, right? Just like take messy action, but we have trainings on that. Okay, so light bulb moment, right? Okay, cool. I'm glad we're talking about this. So who do we need to add value to? We need to add value to our leads. And we talked about this last week with the follow-up training that I did, and just reminding all of us, right, the distinction between a lead and a prospect. A prospect is has self-identified as somebody who has a need for what your offer is. A lead is more of just a connection, right? So hopefully we have leads coming in that are targeted, that are specific, and are the type of people, like we're building our audience, we're building our network with leads of people that are the ideal people we want to work with, right? Not random. And then we're moving those leads into prospects, either through our content or through our conversations. Does that make sense to everybody, how those two are different? Yes, cool. And then we want to be adding value to our customers, and we want to be adding value to our wellness partners. If we can be adding value to leads, prospects, customers, and wellness partners through our social media and through our messenger conversations, then your business is going to grow. Your brand, your platform, whatever that looks like. I want you to tell me in the chat where your primary platform, where you're showing up. Where is that? Danielle is IG for growth. And it's okay if you are like equal on to LinkedIn and Facebook, IG, Facebook for now, TikTok, Facebook and YouTube. Awesome. So primary platform, if we're showing up there and we're creating content, right, then we should be attracting in new leads, working those leads into prospects, those prospects into customers and wellness partners, and then getting those customers and wellness partners results, and they're giving referrals. Okay. So let's talk about the different ways to add value. The number one, I'm going to actually, you guys see this? What in your mind, or you think and feel, what do you think and feel is how to add value to your network? Like, what do you do? What do you think you need to do to add value to your network? testimonials through a post, I'm assuming, Jules. So I think a lot of times what we're thinking is we're adding value strictly through the posts that we're putting up on social media. Yes or no in the chat. Am I on base or not on base? Through posts, right? So we're thinking, okay, I need to post on social media, and that's how I'm adding value, is by posting. Stories, through stories, or posting to the feed. Either of those. Tips, knowledge, connection. Teach, be vulnerable. Through posting on social media. Whether that's stories, the feed, reels, whatever. Am I on target with what you guys think and feel is how you're adding value? Messenger a lot too. Cool. Okay. There's a reason why I'm asking this. Okay. Because I think a lot of times this is, I want you to write tricky in the chat if you feel like sometimes you don't understand how to add value, or if you're adding value, or what it means to add value. Tricky. Tricky. Overthink it. Okay. So here are a few of the different ways that we can be adding value. Number one, with the social media posts, right? So this can be feed, stories, reels, TikToks, LinkedIn, whatever, live video, like all of those different ways of showing up and posting content, right? Putting out content is a way to add value. Following up with people, whether that's direct or indirect, that's adding value. Building that relationship. Would you say that building the relationship with your prospects, with your customers, and with your wellness partner is adding value into their lives? Asking questions, how are things going? Here's this month's code. Here's how to, add on another product. Here is an opportunity to look at how we're building the business for you to look at, right? If someone's a happy customer. Just about anything will add value to someone looking for something. That's very true. Okay, so those follow-ups are a way of adding value. So when you're thinking, okay, how do I show up and add value? Follow up with people, right? Build that relationship. Make sure that you're always like creating the opportunity, whether it's direct or indirect, to answer questions, right? And move the conversation along. The group chats, whether you have a group chat, for your team, a group chat for your customers, or any combination of that, using those group chats is a way to add value. And then evaluation groups and the customer and team groups are ways to add value for customers and wellness partners. Okay, so what is value? I think this is the biggest thing. Write big in the chat if you're like, if someone could just tell me exactly what value is, I would be so happy. Because I'm going to do that. Big. Cool. Okay, so here is what value is. Okay, so when we're talking about value, adding value into your business, number one, relating with somebody. Okay, so relating with somebody so they feel seen and heard, less alone. Is that valuable to you guys? I want you to tell me in the chat, if you either can think of an example or just a yes or a no, right? Of like, if you see, someone that you admire, or that's mentoring you, right? I mean, you can put that in the chat, like whoever is mentoring you, and they put up a post and they share either something funny, something vulnerable, something just that makes them about their life, and you connect with them. Does that matter to you? Is that valuable? Do you feel more connected as a person? You guys can tell me in the chat if you do. That is value, right? That like-minded and like-hearted, of like, you're not alone, right? You're the same way, or ha ha ha, I think it's the same joke, or oh my gosh, I have that same shirt, or oh my gosh, I just read that book, or I would love to read that book, or whatever, right? It's the like-minded relatability, is a massive way to add value. Okay. The second type of value is engagement, right? Having conversations with people, being social. We have to remember that social media is for being social. It's not Amazon, right? It's not Amazon. So people aren't going to social media just to buy things. They go to Amazon to do that. They go to social media to be social, right? So if you are showing up on social media and you are being social, you're engaging people in conversation, whether that's a deep conversation, whether it's surface level conversation, or a combination of those. It doesn't matter, right? It's okay to do any of those. But engaging in those conversations and being social and building the relationship is adding value to people. Okay. Have you experienced that? You can write experience in the chat if you've experienced being social on social media and it being valuable to you, of like, oh, I feel a part of something. Someone cares about my opinion. Someone wants to know how I think. It makes you feel valuable, right? So that's adding value to that person. Okay. It's what I've been learning how to keep the conversation going. Yes. How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you guys want the most epic book you'll ever read about relationship building. Okay. The third thing is sharing your journey and knowledge. Okay. This is where I think people get tripped up and they think this is the only way to add value is through teaching. How many of you guys think that, honestly, that in your mind, your brain tries to tell you that you need to teach in order to add value? Yeah. That's only one type. That's it. That's one type of value. So next time your brain offers that up to you, I want you to just challenge it. Sharing your journey, just sharing your journey. I'm going to give you guys some examples of what this looks like. That is adding value. Okay, because I guarantee you that there's somebody else. Here's my question for you. Have you grown by absorbing a piece of information or seeing a piece of content? I'm going to actually show some examples of this, and you guys are going to see how much value has been added to your life just from certain people in this organization sharing their journey. Okay. Have you bought a book and it's enriched your life because someone was sharing their journey and saying, I'm reading this book? Tell me in the chat. Have you grown? Have you figured out a new like method? Too many books. Have you figured out a new method? Have you figured out, a new way to fold your clothes? I mean, there's so many different things here, right? Of like ways that people just sharing their journey that they think is like, oh, this is not a big deal. This is just me being me, right? That's not valuable enough, that we have to teach on how to grow your business, right? 3 tips to grow your business on social media. Or morning routine. Yeah, morning routine. Like, how many people have an epic morning routine because of people, that they follow? Okay. So, or, how to heal your gut, or why strain specific probiotics matter. Yes, all of that is important and great and awesome. And as you're growing and as you're learning, you are going to be able to share all of that knowledge. And that is a definite way to be able to add value, but also just sharing your journey, sharing what you know. It doesn't have to always be teaching. I saw Jules, bought the mop that Stephanie, with the puppy prints. Okay, so all of these things, right? The fourth type of adding value is solving problems. Okay, and this is where we come into the invite posts. All right, so you can be showing up on social media and adding value by teaching or sharing your journey, creating engagement, being vulnerable, sharing your life, all of those things. But if you do not actually offer somebody the opportunity to solve their problem, with your offer, then you are doing that person a disservice, right? You are stopping adding value into their life at the point that they most need it. Okay. Does that make sense to anybody? Like, would your life have changed had you not hit buy now? Tell me in the chat. Had you not started on the products? Had you not started with this business opportunity? Had someone just kept adding value, being like, here's a free way to heal your gut. Here's a free way to do this, instead of being like, okay, here's how you actually make a difference. Here's how you actually, move forward. Here's how you actually hit your goals. Here's how you actually pay off your debt. Here's how you actually grow business. Here's how you actually fill in the blank. Here's the offer. If it's for you, awesome. If not, no big deal. Yeah, no. So was it valuable for you to have an opportunity to actually have your problem solved with a direct invite? Whether that was a post, whether that was a message, however you came in, right? Was that valuable to you? Tell me in the chat. Yes. Yes. Okay, so this is just a reminder that each one of these different types of posts in the lead format, which again, we have trainings on this inside of the team portal, and any of the posting flows that I make, any of the done for you content, this is the system when it comes to posting on social media that works. You are adding value. If you're plugging into and using this system, you are adding value. Right? System in the chat if you needed the reminder to use a system. Sweet. Good. Okay. So let's dive into some examples. Tell me in the comments, tell me in the chat if you're excited for some examples. All right. So let's look at some examples of some like-minded posts. Okay. So this is the relating to your people. All right. So I read this post last night that Shayla put up, and I absolutely loved it, because here's the deal. It was like, I was nodding my head, right? When you think of like-minded, you want to think of, I want you to write down like-minded equals the head nod effect, right? So when you're reading the post or you're watching the video or you're doing whatever, and you're like, yes, this is me. Okay. So she wrote about, Dad got Leroy his very first fish. His name is Star, right? So she's kind of like sharing a little bit about their life. We made a new steak recipe for supper and had a mini meltdown from Wacy while Leroy colored on the walls in red marker, right? So it's like everybody yesterday was like all these, fabulous Valentine's Day epic posts or whatever. And she's like, this is our real life behind the scenes, right? And I would bet that most people had some type of real life behind the scenes that they were actually experiencing, right? So this was a head nod effect. It was a total relatability to that season of life. And just a couple of the things that she did, right? The supper, right? That's like a word that somebody in the Midwest use that I always love when you guys use supper. It just always just cracks me up. But yeah, and like she's saying, I may not be the best at the gifts or all of the little details that come with the holidays, but I live for these memories. And I'm that type of mom that I'm not, I'm not the Pinterest mom. And so I'm reading this and I'm like, head nod. Yes, me and Shayla are alike. Right. So that relatability, does that make sense to you how that is adding value? Because I scrolling through and seeing how other people were celebrating Valentine's or whatever, Dace and I both were like, oh, we didn't do anything, and it's no big deal. Everybody does what they want to do and whatever, but like it made me feel less alone for being that type of wife and that type of mom. So that added value to my life. This is another post on Instagram on the feed from Brandy Zuger. And she said, we didn't last long in the cold, but I've been dying to test out my new rollerblades. And then I had to cut off the post to fit it on here, but basically like she's showing that they're outdoors. She's a rollerblader. Like, hello, that looks fun. Like it just is showing her personality, and the kids and all of the things. And so it's a relatability, a like-minded post. It makes me feel closer to her, and just drawn into the type of person that she is, because she likes the outdoors and going and doing things. Does that make sense how that's adding value? Sharing a piece of yourself. This is a story from Megan Moose. Okay, so Megan is if you guys don't know this about her, she has an epic garden. She's like a homesteader basically, and makes, like, they have an orchard, they have like a couple acre garden. I don't know, she cans a bunch of stuff. Just follow her and you'll be like amazed at all of the stuff that she does. But I thought this was really cool, especially in the time of year that this was done, right? I took this off of her highlights, but she was showing the apples that they got, and then that they turn them into apple pie filling. And then you'll see, like, if you follow Megan, she makes a lot of pies. So she makes all these pie fillings, and then she makes pies and does everything from scratch, and she's remarkable, right? But for her type of person, I want you to write relate in the chat if you relate to her sharing that aspect of her life, that she loves to garden, she loves to can, she loves to bake, right? She loves doing all of those things, and doing that for her family. And that's a relatability and a like-minded type of post and type of content. So this is a Facebook post, this is an Instagram feed post, and this is an example of stories of adding value by relating with people. Okay, so Jules says relate, Stephanie says relate. I love it, right? I know I'm going to Megan's house when the zombie apocalypse comes, because she is ready and she can whip me into shape and she can teach me how to, provide for my family in that way. Okay, so let's go on. Does anyone have any questions before we move on of these types of posts and what this looks like? You can either unmute or you can write it in the chat. And then
I have a question.
Yep.
So like-minded, is it always more of your lifestyle rather than like about the business or the products?
Give me an example.
So like, I did a post the other day and I was thinking it was like-minded, but maybe it wasn't, where it was yesterday. So it was the song, like, do you ever feel, I can't remember the words now, and it was stuck in my head all last night, but it's basically like, do you ever feel like, oh, gosh, now it's gonna drive me crazy, but it's kind of explaining how you're feeling in that moment of just being overwhelmed by life and blah blah blah. And I feel like it's a head nod thing, but maybe it's, does that make sense? I don't know if I'm clear.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And yes, that post, I know which one you're talking about, and that would be a like-minded head nod type of post for your specific person. So when you're saying like-minded and relatability, this, you want to relate to your ideal person that's going to come into your business. Now, I'll tell you guys, my ideal person is one of two people. Right? If it's a customer, they are a customer that's open to the business opportunity. They're open to referring. They have no weirdness around network marketing, right? And they're open to what we're doing. So I want to attract in the type of customers that are also open to the business, or a business prospect, right? Those are my two variations of my ideal person. And really it's the same person, but those are kind of some of the things there. So, if it's the product user that you're looking for, or like that's kind of what you're leading with your social media, and you're building your business in that way, then you want to think about who that person is. Who are they? What makes them them? How do you relate to them? What's the problem that you are solving in their life? And this is how you relate to them in one way, shape, or form. So not everyone is going to be lifestyle related, Danielle, but that is a piece, right? So I may have put it up in the next one. I have an example of yours. And so you'll kind of see it's lifestyle and another type of post. So you'll kind of see that. Does that make sense? Does anyone else have any other questions on this before we move on? Just checking the chat. Okay, cool. All right, so this, the next type of adding value, way to add value is through engagement, right? Through conversations. Now, something that I think gets trips people up, and you can tell me in the chat, you can write trip if you're like, oh, but I'm on Instagram. Oh, but I'm on Instagram. It's different over there. Do tell. Okay. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. Okay. So on Facebook, the engagement type posts are very simple. It's this color block post right here, right? And these are what work best for this type of post for sure on the Facebook feed. Okay, so this was a good example. Stephanie Kruger, she is incredible with these engagement type posts, right? Or just posts that get a lot of engagement. How much are you spending on groceries each week now with inflation, right? So that's an easy question to answer. And people, you know, it really is her demographic of people, the people that are buying groceries, typically women, right? The moms of the world. So that was a great engagement question. This one from Kristen, I thought was really good. That's a little bit more specific. Josie kind of touched on this with what she was wanting to walk away with, was like adding value that's specific, not random. Okay. So to Kristen, her person is on a journey right now. And so whether they have a morning routine or they're building on that morning routine to improve, I think all of us are that way, a little bit of like working on improving the different areas of our life, improving our routines, right? So I like that she said, what's something you want to add to your morning routine? Really great engagement question, and got some good engagement, probably from very targeted people, right? This wasn't from random people that like are not into improvement or having a routine or starting to develop those habits. This was targeted. Okay, so those are two examples over on Facebook of creating engagement. Now, when you create this engagement, like how you make a post like this blow up is by responding, is by going through the comments and asking deeper questions to the responses that you're getting. So an example for Kristen is, I'm going to actually just pull up the post really quick and read it. Sorry guys, I should have already had this up. Oh, what happened here? No, I want to be in there. Okay. So an example for that one would be, let's see. I want to get up early enough to start my devotional. I have my devotional already. Now I just need to wake up early enough to do it. Kristen did this epically. Okay, so this is great because she actually did this in the post. So she responded, yes, how much time do you need? Then that person responded, probably 30 minutes, not much time, but mornings never go as planned. And then Kristen said, I hear you. There is an odd way to go about it, but I encourage you to download the sleep app and find out when an optimal time to wake up is, so you not be trying to wake up in the middle of a sleep cycle. Right. And then actually someone else, this is, I love that we just pulled up this example. I just want you guys to like, Kristen is killing it. So then someone else, right? So Katie was the person who commented, then Kristen responded, asked her a question, then Katie answered, and then Kristen offered up a solution, right, to what she's got going on. And then someone else, Carissa, who is sitting there reading through Kristen's comments. You guys see how this is valuable? Write value in the chat if you can see how this is valuable. So Carissa is looking at Kristen's post, reading through the chat, reading through the comments, and says, I'd say the same thing. I wish I could convince myself to get up and do the Devo, but that is when it gets earlier in the day or I get up right before the kids, right? So this person is literally going through and reading through the comments. And she's done this a couple different times, Carissa has. When you have that effect in your engagement posts and you go in and you ask those deeper questions and you actually get a conversation going, rate popcorn in the chats if you have ever read through the comments of a post, right? Just write popcorn if you've ever found yourself scrolling through and reading through the comments back and forth, right? Yeah, we all do that. So you want your posts to be the types of posts that people are eating their popcorn, reading through the comments, right? And engaging on. Does that make sense on how that's valuable for your business, but also valuable for your people and adding value to their lives, right? Okay, so I just want you to think about that. Okay. The second one is this reel that I did on Saturday, right? And it says listen, I want to be chill, but God has other plans for me, right? And it was like a head nod effect of raising strong-willed children, right? And I was like, in the comments, it was like, if you are a mom to strong-willed children, we've got this, right? So it was like an engagement type of post and also relatability. And it got a lot of engagement, right? On the post, a lot of engagement and a lot of people telling me their experience. And I did this post or this example. I did a reel on Instagram, and then I went over to Facebook and I did a color block post that said, if you have raised or are raising a strong-willed child, what have they taught you the most? Right? So that was an example of using an engagement type post on Facebook that also has the head nod effect, right? So this comes back to Josie's question of like how to be intentional. All of your content should be speaking to that person, right? You want to be engaging with that person. You want to be adding value and relating with that person. You want to be sharing your journey as it relates to that person. So all of those things are relating to that person. My person is that ambitious mom. That ambitious mom is more than likely butting heads with a strong-willed child. Give me a heck yes in the comments if you know what I'm talking about, right? Because like if I wasn't bossy and I wasn't ambitious and strong-minded, I probably wouldn't butt heads with my strong-minded children. I don't know, but that's what it feels like. So you're relating with and creating engagement with those ideal prospects. Does this make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. So then Danielle has an example here, and this is why I was talking about Danielle. This is a like-minded, but it's also an engagement type post because it's something that people feel strongly about, right? Or if they are experiencing this, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, me too, right? And that would be an opportunity for you to kind of like get into those conversations. You could totally take that and take it over to Facebook and be like, what, again, like I did with my post of like, whether you've already raised them or you are raising them right now, right? Were you surprised? Or you could think of like the language of that, of like how to create that into an engagement post around getting pregnant, right? Because that is a thing. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this was a reel, again, that Danielle did about getting pregnant and having a baby, right? In that season of life that she's in, this is relatable to her prospect, right? So this is going to have the head nod effect, but then also open up engagement. So Facebook and Instagram, are they the same? They are, right? Because people are the same. So it's just taking, like if you're using the posting plans and you're seeing, okay, an engagement type post, you have to make that make sense for the platform that you're using, right? But the type of content is the same. The type of value is the same. Okay. And then I love this. Josie put up yesterday in her stories, right? So this is Josie like all out, right? I'm like I didn't do anything for Valentine's Day. And then Josie's like the all out Valentine's Day. They made lunch, like you guys all out, right? Which I love. And I love like watching everybody's stories and how they do things. But they did Valentine's Day breakfast. And then she said, do you enjoy Valentine's Day shenanigans? Right? So like that is asking for engagement, and people can vote on the poll, and then she can get into conversation with those people, right? Of like, what did you guys do? Or, you know, whatever the questions are, however they answer. Does that make sense? Of how this is a form in stories, right? Of engagement and opening up. You want somebody's opinion, but then also it offers you the opportunity to get into conversation with them. Before we move on, does anyone have any questions about this specific type of content? Cool. All right. So now here are the examples of sharing your journey or education or authority type posts. And this is where everybody gets hung up and they think this is the only way to add value. I want you to write me in the chat if that is something that you have told yourself and you get hung up on it and you tell yourself you don't know how, and am I adding value? Yeah, Stephanie. Okay. I love the help with the stories. Yeah. So I'm trying to give you guys examples of what this looks like in all of the different places so that you don't get hung up on it. Okay. So this right here was a post that Shayla put up this morning that, again, I just grabbed kind of the example of it. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing. And it was a pretty good sized post, but it was an example of her sharing her journey and then teaching, right, through her sharing her journey. So go back and read that post if you want, but it was her. So this touches on all the different aspects. It touches on the head nod like-minded, right? Because she talks about the season of life that she's in. She talks about motherhood. She talks about how she felt, right? She talks about what she did. She talks about how she moved through it. And so she is teaching, she's sharing her journey, she's relating with her person, but she's like establishing herself as I'm a leader and I'm moving through this and this is where we're going. Does that make sense? So go back and read that post of Shayla's that she put up this morning. It's just a really good example of adding value through sharing your journey and teaching and sharing your knowledge, right? Really simple. Okay. This one, Lindsay did over the weekend. I really love this one as an example of sharing your journey. Okay. So she said, tonight I choked a little on my first Cowboy Channel interview of the night at the world's toughest rodeo in Raleigh. I had it all planned out in my head. And when I got there in front of all these people, the words just didn't come out. Well, they did, just not the way I intended. It wasn't the end of the world, but I was still a little nervous, and I know I'll just keep getting better the more I do it. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Tonight, my lesson was keep it simple. Just over here, getting more comfortable being uncomfortable, right? So at first glance, did you guys think that that was an authority or teaching type post, or was that just like she was just doing a post? Tell me in the chat. Yes or no? Yes, you thought it was an authority one, or no, not really. Okay, Stephanie got it. Not at first. I love this as an example of her sharing her journey into like just getting uncomfortable in leadership development. It doesn't have to always be related to your business or to your products, but it's showing Lindsay growing as a leader. Okay, so just you have opportunities like this every day in your day. I want you to write opportunity in the chat if you're starting to think about this and you're like, wow, I have a lot of content in my day that could be adding value to my person. Yeah, you have opportunities all day long, all the time. You just have to put your content goggles on and just start thinking and be okay with messing it up at first and just going. Messy action. Okay, this one right here is a reel that Stephanie did about prepping all of the produce. I want you to write influenced in the chat. If you have been influenced by Stephanie Gilliland to store your produce in glass containers, just write influenced in the chat. I think everyone on this team has been influenced by Stephanie Gilliland in some way, shape, or form, right? I've seen so many people. You guys should be tagging Stephanie when you're doing that, like tag each other and collaborate in that way. Because here's why, like, you're adding that you're enticing people to want to be in your network when you're saying, like, this is the value that I'm getting from the people I surround myself with. Like, I'm surrounded by incredible people. My friend Stephanie showed me this hack. She's a busy mom, and this is totally changing the game for our family. I love my community. Does that make sense? Tell me in the comments if it does. Okay, so lots of people influenced by Stephanie, but this is a really good example of, this is something she does every week, right? Every week she does this, so it's very easy to create content around. And it's probably something, Stephanie, you can tell me in the chat, that on some level you're like, don't people already know how to do this? Or like people don't care, or they're either, don't they already know how to do it, or no one would actually take the time and go through this process because I'm so extra, right? I think that a lot of times of myself, of like, no one's gonna do this because you're so extra, Cassie. Okay, so that's an example of sharing your journey and sharing your knowledge, right? And adding value to your network in that way. Okay. This is an example of on Instagram. So this is Instagram. These two are Facebook. This is Instagram of what are they called? What are they called? It just left my mind. What are they called? When there's multiple of them. What is that called? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Danielle, what's it called? You know when there's multiple? Carousel. Okay, thank you. I was like, why did it say collage? And I'm like, it's not collage. Get out of my head. Get that word out of my head. Okay, so a carousel post from Ashley about prioritizing your goals, right? So in the caption, she goes in and kind of talks about her story. And then in this carousel post, she is adding value and teaching and sharing her knowledge, right? So this is a really good example of showing up, adding value in this way on Instagram through carousel posts, right? Reels, carousel posts, and then an example of stories. And Danielle, I'm going to challenge you on this one. Okay, so Danielle put this in this morning. Woke up starving, trying to have an 11 to 8 eating window. So I mixed up some protein to hold me over. The best part is it doesn't break my fast. I would elaborate on that either today or tomorrow, right? Elaborate on why you're either one of two things. Keep it to 4 stories, right? So 1 minute of why you're doing an 11 to 8 eating window, or why you're adding protein, or why the protein isn't breaking your fast. So pick one of those, elaborate on that. Boom. There you go. That was just a moment in your day that you were like, this is going to be a pretty picture, right? And it gives you an opportunity, right? This on its own is great, but you can elaborate on it too. And then that gives you an opportunity to be sharing your journey and sharing your knowledge with your audience in stories. Yep. Explain why. Ashley and Danielle are really good at those. They always suck me in. Yeah. The carousel post. I love it. Yep. Explain why. Exactly. So that's it. Explain why. Super simple. Does anyone have any questions as it relates to authority type posts? Sharing your journey or sharing your knowledge? Cool. All right. So this is solving the problem. Sometimes we can solve people's problems in authority type posts, right? In adding value, in sharing your journey. Sometimes we can solve people's problems there, because a lot of people's problems, right, can be solved for free, right? They don't need to have that buy-in. So whether it is how to not let your fruit go bad, whether it is how to achieve your goals, whether it is, what type of protein, or when to eat, right? The eating window, the 11 to 8 eating window. None of those things require an investment, but we also know that it only solves your problem so much, right? And what we're here to do, I want you to write business in the chat if you are here to make money. There is no shame in that. That is why you are a wellness partner. That's why you joined, is to make money, and you want to make money. Right? And I want you to make money. We want this business model to work. We want to make money. Okay, so in order for you to make money, you have to have people coming into your business. In order to have people coming into your business, you have to be clear on the problem that you solve for them, and that you are continually offering them to take a look at evaluating what it is you have to offer. Okay, are you clear on that? Right, clear or unclear in the chat. And either way is fine. It's no big deal. There's no judgment. It's not anything like that. It's just knowing where you're at. Often it seems like how I end a post defines whether it's authority or direct. Do you agree? How you end the post? No, I don't agree. I think that they can overlap. It probably is more of a direct post is a direct invitation, right? Solving the problem to solve the problem that relates to your business. Where an authority type post, you can invite them to take the next step, right? And solve the problem. So you can still end it with like, do you want my book recommendation? Or do you want, and so that's still moving them into your funnel a little bit more. But a direct post is directly related to your offer. And authority posts can be a little more widespread. Sometimes they're related directly to your offer, sometimes not. Is that little bit of wiggle room, does it confuse you? Tell me in the chat. The wiggle room, like where I say sometimes it's this, sometimes it's that. Does the wiggle room confuse you? Or do you feel okay with it? Right? Write in the chat, confused or okay. Thinking they're direct. Yeah, Josie, there you go. I think I do a lot of authority posts thinking they are direct, but they aren't. So the direct posts is directly into your offer. Again, there can be overlap of the authority posts talking about your offer, or you teaching on something or sharing your journey and directing people, right? Ending it with like, do you want this? Do you want this book? Do you want that? And that can definitely be something that gets them into a conversation with you. But if it's not directly related to your offer, then you're not solving the problem. I'm trying to create balance between the two and needing to spend time thinking through it. I get scared of doing too many direct. Think about the belief behind that. I get scared of doing too many direct, which makes me get fuzzy on what I'm actually doing. What's the belief that's attached to that? What's going to happen? What do you believe is either right or wrong about that? And you can send me that. We can talk through that. Okay, so examples of this. So on Facebook, color block post, Kristen saying, my girl Christy is down 10 pounds in her first 2 weeks on the purple pill. Can't wait to do my measurements tomorrow. Who needs this? Boom, simple, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. There you go. Right. Another example of this, Shayla. These messages never get old. The response to this new product has been insane. Customers losing 4 to 5 pounds in their first week and kicking cravings to the curbs. It's not magic, just really cool science. Do I still owe you a message? And she's sharing a messenger conversation that she got from a customer, and boom, engage. That's directing people into her offer. This is a feed post on Instagram of Brandy, and you can go and read through it. It's a in-depth post, right? But it is a direct invitation to look at the business opportunity and why, right? And what's happening and all of that. So this is a really great post, and it's a really great direct invitation to look at the business opportunity. This one right here is a reel that Stephanie did that is a direct invitation for her person, right, to solve the problem. So you can read through the caption, you can see how she does the reel, and it's a direct invitation. I'm going to tell you, these types of posts typically get less engagement. Don't be surprised when that happens. That's okay. Doesn't matter. That's not an indication of whether or not you should be doing them. That's just as to be expected. Okay, and then this one right here was a really good example in stories. And Megan did some stories before this, leading up to right? The post where she's saying, are you struggling to show up for yourself? But she's got her happy juice, right? Feels good to feel good. And she'd done some story posts, right? Some stories before this, kind of explaining what was in it, why, you know, the story behind it, and then an opportunity for them to take a look at what she has. So stories, reel, feed post on Instagram, feed post on Facebook, feed post on Facebook. So examples of doing these types of direct invitations into the problem that you solve. Easy peasy. Okay, does anyone have any questions with regards to this specific type of post? No. Okay, I'm going to stop the share. That was a really in-depth, I feel like comprehensive rundown of how to show up and add value through your social media. Okay, so you are, as you're getting into conversation with people, leads, prospects, right? Leads, prospects, customers, and wellness partners, getting into conversation with them and building the relationship, that's adding value. Then taking that conversation and making sure that you are offering them an opportunity to evaluate the solution that you have, that's important. That's adding value, right? It's like the, you know, are we going to do this or not type of a conversation, instead of like sitting in maybe land with somebody of like free value, free value, free value. Like, are you actually going to offer them? Like, what, you're not here just to share value with people, right? And share motivational quotes. You're here to build a business, and you have belief. I want you to write belief in the chat that what you have will change people's lives. Okay, so what you have will change people's lives. You have belief in that. So you are doing them a disservice if you are not making the offer. So doing those direct type posts or moving the conversation to that in Messenger. Okay. The like-minded type posts, engagement type posts, authority or sharing your journey type posts, and then the direct type posts, that's the lead framework. If you want more information on that, if you go into the team portal, there is a training specifically on that. I feel like this was also a really great training on this framework. Don't overthink it. Okay, don't worry too much about doing everything perfectly. If you follow the posting prompts that we put out, or any of the done for you content, it follows this process, right? And you're going to, I want you to, in the chat, tell me if you're going to give yourself permission. I want you to write permission if you're going to give yourself permission to do this badly while you're figuring it out. Because you will never figure it out if you don't just do it. And if your brain is offering you, right, that you're doing this wrong, it's just a thought, right? But give yourself permission to be okay with that thought, and letting it be a thought that comes in one ear and out the other, and not something that you overthink or that you, you know, that you get in the weeds with. Have no idea if they're right. Yeah, who cares? So in one ear and out the other. Have it be a thought, and then release the thought. And you're giving yourself permission to, if that thought comes up, it's like, okay, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. This is what it feels like. This is what it looks like to grow a business on social media, to learn how to use social media for business, right? So I just want you to give yourself permission to do that. And as you do, you'll have more fun with it. And the more fun that you have, the more value you're going to be able to add to your network. Before we hop off, does anyone have any questions at all, or any statements or anything that you want to, you know, talk through as it comes to adding value on social media?
Can I ask something?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, because it would really help me on how to handle this again if it ever comes up. So I had a cousin reach out. I have 3 people that are interested, and one is a cousin of mine, and she just wanted to buy, right? So we're talking and we had the order and I was ready to place it. I told her I'd set up a cart. And then she started talking about possibly coming on as a wellness partner, but she had to go, right? Because she was watching her grandchild. So I started to set up the cart and then I thought, oh man, I can't do this because if she comes on as a wellness partner, she needs to know about purchasing the launch pack and all of that, right? So then I backed off on just setting up the order, which I had because of this other situation, right? And then I overthought it throughout the weekend as I was rewriting what to do and spent hours, and I actually was late on assignment. But and that happened with another person. Like I overthink, but in that situation, I didn't feel right not letting her know about if you come in. She did say sign me up as a wellness partner, but she didn't know about the lunch pack, right? So we're at a spot now where nothing's happened, but I really thought I needed to let her know that. So I stepped back. Was that the right thing to do? Like I think it was, but it definitely stopped an order. That was,
Okay.
what would you
So
have
what
done?
I would do in that situation. So what I would do